Hey there, cozy babe, and welcome into the coziest, vibiest, autumnal corner of the internet. My name is Kloee Taylor, and today we are going to be channeling a message from your ancestors. So if you didn't know, Dia de los Muertos, which is the, I believe, Mexican holiday for celebrating the dead. If you didn't know, my husband is actually 100% Chicano, and we practice celebrating Dia de los Muertos in our home because we bring in his culture into the home as well. So I obviously am no expert on this as I was not raised with it, but it's been a really beautiful thing to get to experience alongside my spouse and to honor his cultural practices. So I thought it would be really cool in honor of Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, even though it's happening in the next few days, I thought it would be really awesome to sit and actually try to channel the ancestors, your ancestors. And this is going to be a collective reading once again right now while I'm still moving into my home. I still felt really called to make this, or my apartment rather. I felt really called to make this reading at this time. And so we're going to do a collective reading because it's a little bit easier to channel. And we're just going to see what comes up. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into it. And I'm also very delighted to say that before we get into it, today's video is sponsored by Tarot Stack. And Tarot Stack, if you didn't know, they are an online tarot distributor. So if you're looking for a new deck, especially as the holidays are right around the corner, maybe you have somebody special in your life that you'd like to buy for, they are a wonderful place to shop because they do a lot of indie decks. So independent artists, they help distribute their decks. And I own probably too many of their decks. So many. I feel so blessed. And I think my favorite thing about working with them so consistently is that I was somebody that purchased from them on my own before we ever work together. So I really stand behind them and their business and what they do. And I think they're such a great fit for our channel and our community. So if you are looking for a deck though, please check them out. All the decks that we use today in this collective reading are all from Tarot Stack. I will link all of them down below for you as well. So if you want to get like a preview of some of them, this is a good place to see some of the things that they might offer, or they do offer some of the things that they do offer. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the reading. So we're actually going to start with this little tiny deck right here, which is actually called the Ofrenda Oracle, which for Dia de los Muertos, my husband and I in particular, we set up what is called an ofrenda, which is kind of like an altar to your ancestors to like honor people that have passed. So this one is called the Ofrenda Oracle, and I thought it was the perfect fit for today's reading. Oh, we got a little flip there that says the ship. We'll just take note of that in case the card comes out again later in the reading. But I'm hoping with this deck that we're actually going to get very specific. We'll see what the deck has in store for us. I'm hoping we'll get very specific on who is actually coming through for us, so you'll know if this reading is your ancestor or not. And I also set the intention with this reading that this wouldn't just be one ancestor, like anybody that had something to say. Basically, they could come together and be here for this collective message. All right. Ooh. We have the Marigold. So also you'll have to excuse my lighting right now as I'm still moving into my space, and my lights are not unpacked yet, so lighting is a little interesting. We have the Butterfly. The Key, the Clover, the Skull. I feel the need to pull one more. The Fox. You'll have to excuse me there. I feel like my camera's playing tricks on me today. The ancestors being spooky, but my camera just like stopped randomly, but it should be fine now. So I'm actually unsure about this bottom of the deck card, so I do want to take a peek. And then I have something important to say about the cards that we've pulled that I've been intuitively getting, but I just want to see I am no expert in any of this, even though I am with someone that knows a lot more. I am no expert. So, okay. La Catrina, this is death is democratic, meaning one of the most popular figures during Day of the Dead is a female calca dressed in elegant finery called La Catrina. She is the queen of the underworld. Do not mistake her for the lady card. La Catrina was first introduced around 1910 by Jose Guadalupe Posada and popularized by Diego Rivera on his Mexico City mural. Dream of a Sunday afternoon in Alameda Park. La Catrina appears in your cards to remind you that death comes to all, regardless of how fine your clothes or how much money is in your account. La Catrina asks you to assess what you value and whether it leads you to your own version of paradise. If not, what is your next indicated step? Draw a card. Okay, so that one I feel like is just like a healthy reminder for all of us, right? We'll all be ancestors someday. But something that like an intuitive message that I got with just these first few cards right away is that a lot of these are symbols, meaning, I mean, they're all symbols, but a lot of them are like, did your ancestor have a tattoo? I can tell you right now, looking at this reading, my sister's here in this room. And I'm like going to try not to get emotional about it because she doesn't show up a lot, but this Clover, I have somebody in this room present for me that has a message for me, which that does happen sometimes. As a tarot card reader, sometimes the pick of cards, there's a pile in there that's mine. So I can tell you right now that one of my ancestors is here. And I know this because, well, it's personal. I don't need to share, but like Clovers were very specific to her. But they could have had tattoos of keys or butterflies or death moths or skulls or foxes. Maybe one of their nicknames was Fox. I'm also hearing the marigold. I got the message when it came out that they would really like to be honored in some way. So in your life, it doesn't mean you have to go out and make a whole ofrenda or celebrate Dia de los Muertos, you know. This could be literally just lighting a candle for them somewhere special, you know, especially as we just had Halloween as well, which is also a lot about honoring spirits crossing over into the next life. So I do feel like this is like a really appropriate time as well, which you can do these things any day of the week. But right now I do feel like as collectively, we have a lot of this energy stirring. You know, I always say that I say the same thing when it comes to like Yuletide or Christmas time. Even if you're somebody that doesn't celebrate, take that collective energy that's in the air and like do something with that. You can tap into it too. You're also part of the collective. So I do feel like we have kind of an upsurge of this energy right now that we can work with, and honoring our ancestors is important in our life now. You know, a lot of, actually all, I would say, of our ancestors in some way paved the way forward for us to be here today. How many people had to make choices so that you could be here as you are today, right? And I think it's easy to lose sight of that. But I feel like ultimately just look at these symbols that we have here. So butterfly, or I would say even a death moth of some kind, a clover, a marigold, a fox, a key, and a skull. I would say look at these symbols and ask if you have any ancestors that these could be pertinent for. Did they have, like I said, tattoos? Were these things that they were obsessed with or had a lot of? Or you like, I'm also seeing somebody with keys, like possibly like I'm seeing like a fatherly, like a man, like an older man with a large key ring. And that was something that maybe as a child you played with a lot. The keys were really like symbolic of your relationship with them. I feel like there must be a lot in this reading. Like collectively, I must be pulling a lot because I feel like I'm getting a lot of like fast imagery. Somebody here does have like a nickname, like they went by Fox, or like, you know, like they would call themselves like their first name and then Fox. Butterfly tattoo keeps coming through really strong too, or like a moth tattoo. Okay. I'm going to leave that that there, but let's go ahead and keep going. So what is the message now that we know that there is some imagery, something that would help you to connect them to this reading? What do they want to tell us? Let's find out. So I'm going to grab this rainbow heart tarot first. What do they want to tell us? Seven of Wands. Oh, that's beautiful. So Seven of Wands, I mean, look at this card. It's stunning. It's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You've been going through a hard time in your life right now. I can see that with this card. And this ancestor, possibly ancestors for you as well. It could be like a couple, I'm hearing as well. They're showing up to tell you that things might be really uncertain or unsure right now, but you are actually hitting a point in your life where you're going to rise, and like literally rising like a phoenix from the ashes of going through just like possibly a few years of a hard time, multiple months. This isn't something where you just had like a bad week and now you're like, I don't know. This is like you have been getting hit over and over and over and over again. And this ancestor is stepping forward to tell you, like, you have no idea how good it's about to get. You have no idea how this is going to turn around in your favor. We also have the Hermit card. I think they also would really like you to spend some time in self-reflection, either with a journal or in meditation. It could be actually with them if you're familiar with doing that. Like journeying is a thing that you can do. I'm not somebody that leads journeying, but there are plenty of people out there that do. I want to say even in our community here, I don't want to name drop because I'm not 100% sure. I know of at least one person that has done journeying, and I've taken their journeying before. They did like tickets for this like journeying meditation type thing. And that was really cool. I met like both my grandmothers. It was really awesome. I want to say that person I know for sure. I don't know if they still do it, but they go by Magic Makers on Instagram. Really fantastic creator. There's somebody else I'm thinking of in our community, but I'm not 100% sure that they do it. So I don't want to say, but ultimately like journeying, it's all about just getting into that meditative state, and you can actually meet ancestors doing it. Sometimes during the first time you do it, depending on like how much you've honed your own psychic gift, sometimes you don't meet anyone the first time, but it just really depends. But really cool experience. And for some of you, they're asking for that. For others of you, this is also just about, like I said, self-reflection, getting a journal out, and they want you to self-reflect, to take some time and really ask yourself right now, what are the ways in which you haven't been caring for yourself? And this isn't to be like a shameful experience. It's to ask yourself, like, what's actually up? What's really going on? What's really going on? And can you open that internal dialogue with yourself right now? Then we have the Two of Wands. They also want you to start dreaming again. Not like dreaming like sleeping, but like they want you to start dreaming again. I think you really wanted some things to pan out for yourself and they just didn't. And that really made you feel like, why do I even try? What is the point? Why do I even try? And this ancestor is stepping forward to tell you that the things that didn't work out, they weren't supposed to. And I know that that's hard to hear, but it doesn't mean you should give up on yourself. Then we have the Fool. Literally, you're entering a new beginning. A brand new beginning where things really are about, like, you can't even fathom it because you haven't experienced it in so long, but this is like the near future. is once you start dreaming again, you're actually going to see your dreams come to pass. You're going to see it happen, and you're going to step out of the void that you've been living in. Literally, this fool is like stepping out of the void, right? It's like this dark hole. And I think it's interesting that there's flames surrounding when there's also flames here rising from the ashes. Okay, one more. And then we have the Queen of Swords. So what this was supposed to teach you right now, which this ancestor like just knows. They know, they have insight that you don't right now. And they are here to remind you that what you've gone through, it was to help you with boundaries, not just boundaries with other people, but also boundaries with yourself, because nobody's going to love you the way that you love you. Meaning, this to me always comes back to like reparenting the self, right? If we didn't have the best example, or we didn't have people teaching us, you know, actually it is good to go to bed at a good time. It is good to brush your teeth before you go to bed. It is good to not consume a bunch of sugar before you go to sleep. It is good to not go to sleep with your phone in your hand. You know, there have been countless studies done on this stuff. And those are just like really surface level things that I'm mentioning here. But some things go even deeper than that, you know, for you specifically. But the experience that you've been through, it's been to understand how you can love yourself even through the difficult times. And once you start accepting that, accepting yourself where you are and as you are, you're only going to move up from there. And it was literally to teach you boundaries. And you can't see that right now. That's the bigger picture at hand. Okay, let me go ahead and grab. Now I want to grab just one of these cards for us from the Little Rain Oracle. This is just going to be another message that this ancestor wants you to have right now. I really get the sense that a lot of the ancestors that have shown up here, these are guides as well. These are people that stay with you because they have like taken on the role of guiding you in the current life now. Ooh, I just got the chills too. Ooh, okay. We have Kloee. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Come on. It's because this face is right here. Whenever there's like a face on screen, this camera is really, really good at detecting faces. So it like does not want to not focus. And there's too many faces, I think, out right now. But okay, so I can't show that one to you super close, unfortunately. But it says Kloee. And I am going to read this one from the book because I'm not super familiar. And oh my gosh, I love this deck. This is another one from Tarot Stack. It literally has a certificate of authenticity inside of it. And there was only 2,000 of these decks made. That's so crazy. I forget about that sometimes. Okay, the Kloee, that's number 57. Okay. Consideration, caution, confusion. The Kloee flower reminds us that knowledge is the key to assessing issues accurately. This card suggests that the user could be facing confusion and inner turmoil due to a lack of introspection. They literally said, you need to self-reflect. Your current dilemma raises an essential question you don't need to answer immediately, but one that is crucial to ponder. Think about whether you're overexerting yourself or underexerting yourself. Where do you need to try slowing down or speeding up respectively? Take this as a sign to take efforts to strike the perfect balance between your emotions, work, or passions. Don't look at others and their achievements for answers. Your only competition should be yourself. You are a person with unique skills, quirks, and dreams, so focus on your journey and make sure you're shooting for the stars. Similar to the intricate details of choosing the Kloee dosage, you must find the fine line to accomplish all you set out to accomplish. So they literally said it twice. They said, give me a microphone and I'll say it again louder. There is some self-reflecting that you have not been doing. And this is an essential part of moving forward. You need to take some time, put the phone away, take some downtime, put the kids to bed, tell your man, your woman, whoever, your significant other, you need some space, even if it's just an hour to sit by yourself whether it's inside or outside, doesn't matter, just somewhere that you're not going to be distracted. I would encourage you to sit with a journal and don't take technology, because it forces you to have to reflect and be introspective. Okay. And then lastly, I wanted to get a message from your ancestors about your body, like what right now within the body, like these cards are all about like somatic work. And I believe that somatic work is some of the most important work we came here to do. So I just want to get us a couple of these cards about, you know, how we can work with the body right now, just with loving compassion. Okay. We have C. That's so interesting, because when I see this card, it makes me think of like psychic sight, like using your third eye to see, opening your eyes to see. And I do feel that something that's coming to mind for me is that when we're constantly looking at a screen, it actually can create more fear in the brain, because our brains, we have a primal side of the brain that needs stimulation too. And our primal brain is made to like look at landscapes, to like look out and not be focused on just moving in this tiny little box formation. And it allows us to actually heal and reconnect and reflect when we allow ourselves to look at the landscape instead of just constantly staring in this same little formation. And I can't remember the study that was done. Like, I'm referencing something specific, but it actually helps to put your mind at ease when you allow yourself to like really take in a full landscape instead of just focusing on something directly in front of you. You use your eyes to their fullest potential. And I feel like there's something about that. Okay. We also have attend or unify. And I want to pull one more. Mindful movement. Okay. Some of you also just need to literally attend like a class, like getting into like a workout class or something that gets you unified in a community that takes you out of just your day-to-day experience. That would be like a really good thing, I feel like, with both of these cards coming out. But I actually want to look at the book really quick for this attend unify card. Just think it's funny that you got mindful movement and attend at the same time. Okay. So the attend and unify, this is all about like you are part of the universe and you're mindful about the notions of separation that you keep in your heart. This card is not named here, although, Each time you inhale again as you go on, imagine the breath filling up the space around you, the room, your home, wherever it be, out and out until you feel like you've reached the limits of your imagination. Imagine that all of that space you filled with your breath is your love. Everyone in that space feels your love and sends love right back to you, regardless of religion, spirituality, or existential preference. Regardless of yours, take note of how the feeling of unity sits in your body. So listen, I feel like this also is a really great message for the time. And if you're someone that sits at home all day or even like just anywhere connected to your phone and you are constantly getting sidelined by the news, by major headlines, by the things that are meant to invoke an emotional reaction in you, you can become convinced that people suck and the world is awful very, very quickly. Like, trust me when I tell you, everyone wants to think that they're not influenceable. Everyone, even myself, everyone is influenceable. All of us are. And it's so easy to think, no, it's not me. It's just everyone else. Everyone is influenceable. And I think right now the current landscape is not one of unity. It's not one of feeling like we can rely on each other if you're constantly living your life online. However, the second you get outside of that, the second you get into community, I'm not saying every single person is going to meet you with a grace. Like, there are people out there that through their own trauma and torment just don't treat people the best. I'm not saying those people don't exist, but I feel like for the most part, most people, if you need help and you ask someone for it, they're going to say, okay, they're going to help you. And if they can't, they can at the very least direct you to someone who can. And I feel like a perfect example of this, small example, is I've recently been going to a new gym because I've moved and I'm at a new gym now. And I love my new gym. It's so good. Good for me. But the first day that I went in, I was super nervous, like could have ran out, could have had a panic attack. I was so nervous. And instead, I pushed through all of those like internal blocks of why I should be afraid, why I should feel disconnected, why I should be afraid of other people. And there was like 2 classes running simultaneously and I didn't know like where I needed to be. So I just whispered to somebody in one of the classes. I was like, hey, is this where this class is? And they were like, oh yeah, it's in both places. Like this is all one class. So like they helped me. And then the trainer that day that was like leading the class made like extra time to say hey to me and like welcome me to class. And like, that's what I mean. The second you put yourself in the way of others, most of the time, I'm not saying every time because there are some people, but most of the time you're going to be met with a loving community, especially if you're doing something that is unifying, like going to a workout class or something. There are people there that want to help. Not everybody is just out to get you all the time. And I think this is something, especially if you've grown up with a lot of trauma, you can be convinced that everyone is out to get you and everyone is out to manipulate you or hurt you, or that everybody wants something from you and you can't just exist. And it's frankly just not the truth. It's not true. And maybe past experiences have led you to believe that, but it's not true. People inherently are good. I believe that. People inherently are good. And if there are quote unquote bad people, I don't even think bad people exist. I think traumatized people exist. And I think people are inherently good and people do inherently want to help and they do inherently want to unify with each other. We are a social species before we are anything else. The first thing we do out of the womb is cry because we need help from someone else. So people are inherently good. And when we allow ourselves to be separated and to only focus on the separation and how we are othered or we are too different to unify, what I'm saying is it like starts to create more of that. And then you start to avoid and isolate. And that is not a fulfilling life. Living in isolation, as much as it might help for a time period, I'm not saying that like isolation can't be a good thing. It can, but living in isolation, it's not something that humans are inherently meant to do. And mindful movement coming out. This to me is just that. It's, it doesn't mean you have to go join a gym, but going and actually just going for a walk, doing some gentle movements and stretches at home, moving the body. It's helpful. When we don't move, life becomes stagnant. Think of your body as a reflection of your external life. When the body isn't moving, maybe the rest of life stagnates too. And obviously, like, please have some damn nuance. Like, it's November, nuance, no nuance, November Nelly, like have some nuance. Obviously, like I myself am a disabled girly. I can't move like everybody else. I understand that. But even just, moving and stretching your wrists or like moving your toes, your feet, whatever would be mindful to you. It doesn't mean you have to go like super hard crushing it at the gym, Anyways, this is what your ancestors wanted you to hear today. I do feel like some of this reading felt a little disjointed, but I feel like when there's a lot of energy, it usually comes out like that. I hope this reading helped no matter what. And I hope you enjoy this time period where I feel like the veil is thinner and collectively we are experiencing more contact with the spirit realm. I do believe that we can contact the spirit realm at any point in time. It doesn't have to be during this time of year, but like I said, as a collective, I do think that it helps. Like it helps when like a lot of people's minds are already on it. And don't forget to check out Tarot Stack if you're looking for a deck for yourself or for a loved one. Thank you so much for letting me read this for you. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so at KhloeTaylor.com. I also have my Patreon available to you where if you'd like to see my new setup and stuff in my like apartment and everything where I've just moved, I just put out a vlog for patrons only this past month that you can see. It's out now. And that's available to you at patreon.com/KhloeTaylor. And if you'd like to follow me around the web, I am at Kloee Taylor everywhere, just like it's spelled here with no space. And Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.